Hello cat family, Sherry the Catlady here with Catlady Videos vlog number 8. Today we're going to introduce you to our boy Red. Hey all my fellow cat lovers, Sherry the Catlady here inviting you to join my husband Marvin and I on our journey through life in a multi-cat home. We hope to give you a real and honest look at the rewards and challenges of loving and caring for all of our babies. Now Red is a 12-pound ginger that we have and the first newborn bottle baby I ever had. Around July 7th or 8th of 2012, Marvin and I stopped at a convenience store one day to pick up a snack, and I thought I heard a noise. Amongst all the cars and traffic and people going in and out, I wasn't quite sure, but for some reason I have a knack for hearing cats, even when they're not there. It's just a gift I have. But I heard a sound, and I asked Marvin, does that sound like a kitten? He said, no, it's a bird, let's go. Well, that didn't satisfy me, so in front of the store there was these stands where they had these propane tanks, and I followed the sound to the propane tanks and looked behind it, and there was 4 little babies. I mean little babies. One of them still had the umbilical cord on. There were 2 gingers and 2 calicos. Well, one of the gingers had gotten close to the end, and he was the one I was hearing. The other 3 were balled up in a little ball. Well, I finally managed to get them all out and get them in a tote. Then I was like, well, now what do I do? I really knew nothing about babies this small, so I wasn't sure what to do. I went in the store and asked the clerk if she knew anything about them, and she said she knew that there was a mama cat that had had some kittens, and she had moved them from place to place, but she didn't know where they were at that time. And I told her about the ones I had just found. I told her I was going to take them with me and let me know if she saw mama cat come back. Well, about 45 minutes later, she called me and said that the mama cat had been killed crossing the road trying to get back to the babies. I knew I had to act fast because they were so small I didn't know. What I could look up online told me that they had to be fed like every 2 hours, they got to be kept warm. So I took off to my vet with them to let them check them out and tell me what to do. I knew I was taking a crash course and trying to learn all this real quick, but I had to act fast because these babies were not in good shape. And from what I found out, having mother's milk the first few days of their life is the most important time for them to have it. So the vet told me how to bottle feed them and how to keep them warm, and then had to stimulate the little bottoms to make them go to the bathroom. I even tried local shelters to see about a surrogate, because sometimes they can have a surrogate mom that will nurse other babies, and that would have been perfect. But there wasn't one. The only one they had just retired her, and she deserved it. So I bought some of the KMR, the mother's milk replacement, and I brought them home, and I put them in a big tote with blankets and a heating pad underneath it. I don't know how long they had been without their mom, but some of them were just too weak. This was on a Friday, and we ended up losing one of the gingers that very day, and another one the following Monday. He wasn't eating and his breathing was labored, so we took him to the vet to end his suffering. So we were down to 2, 1 ginger and 1 calico. For 3 weeks I set my alarm clock for every 2 to 3 hours around the clock. Marvin and I would take turns getting up and feeding the babies. We couldn't leave home for very long because we knew they could not miss a feeding. On the 3rd week I went to feed them one evening, and the little calico seemed fussy and felt a little bit warm to me. So I bathed her and I fed her, I burped her and laid her back down for another nap. When I got up for the 11 o'clock feeding, she was worse. I knew then we were losing her. We both stayed up and held her and stroked her, telling her how much we loved her. We took turns until 3:42 a.m. when she took her last breath. It broke both our hearts. Now we were down to 1. And the one that was left was the very one that led me to finding him in the first place. He was the loudest and the strongest, and our only survivor. He kept getting bigger and stronger until we felt pretty sure he was going to make it. I really loved feeding him with a bottle. We called it his nin-nin, and he just loved it. I had thought about naming him Samson because of his strength and determination to live. But we had been watching a TV show called That 70s Show, and one of my husband's favorite characters was named Red. So now he's got to name 2 of our cats. This one got named Red. We owned our own business at the time, and as long as Red was on a bottle, I took him with me to work every day. I held him a lot of the time, and we had a large crate we kept him in, and we also had an extra room we could put him in, and he could walk around and, move around a little bit. My oldest son, who also loved him to pieces, was always begging me to leave him at home with him. And I told him as long as he was on a bottle, I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. But when we weaned him from his bottle, we left him home with Chris. Well, with him being with him 8 to 10 hours a day, doing nothing but loving on him and all that, he bonded with Chris. All the time, round the clock feeding, carried him everywhere I went. He bonded with somebody other than me. It was a little hard to take, but my son just adored him, and that was that. All that mattered was that our strong little fella made it. Now in July, he'll be 9 years old. Today, he's a bouncing 12-pound boy, and he's doing just great. He gives me and Marvin a little bit of attention sometimes, especially when he hears the treat box rattle. But he is and will always be Chris's baby. He's like a different cat in Chris's room than any other place. He's just comfortable there, and he knows he's loved everywhere. So keep a lookout in our future videos for more on Red and all our others. Thanks.